Good morning. Oh, wait, we're not live yet. I was ready though. I was ready. It says it's starting. Okay, there we go. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. Kristen and I are so excited to be back here today. Hello, friend.
I feel like it's been a long time.
I feel like it has too. And real quick, for those of you tuning in that might be disappointed, we're also disappointed to not have our good friend Lauren Duke here with us. But unfortunately, Lauren's family is going through a really, really hard time right now. So we just want to lift her up in prayers and give her the space and the ability to just be home. So stay tuned. She will be coming on in the next couple weeks. But today, Kristen, we are going to talk about pivoting with grace. And I loved that when you said that title, I was like, I feel like that's a Randy title, but it's coming from Kristen. So I love it.
Well, I was thinking when Lauren texted us this morning, I was like, we were both like, hey, totally fine. Like, go spend time with your family. And I think that that's because you and I both have pivoted so many times in our business. And one of like the core pillars in my business is grace and knowing, like, especially in this community, the moms in real estate community, like, try to remember that in everything you do. Like, if our kid's sick, what do we have to do? We have to completely pivot and go pick them up. And like, we have to just like figure it out. And so I think that in business, when stuff like this happens, I think that being able to like quickly adapt and make changes as they come is so important.
Yeah, I think that one of the best things, there's not a lot of things that I think came out great from 2020, but I think one of the best things that came out of 2020 was like this grace that actually moved to like a baseline acceptance around like business looking different and family first businesses, right? And I think that that's the thing that I couldn't imagine creating or existing in an ecosystem where somebody is like going through something with their family and they're like, well, like, sorry, you'll handle that after the clock. Like, could you imagine?
Yeah. Or like I had one of my girls text me this morning, one of her events, like one of the main people hired in to be at the event is super sick. And so she has to completely pivot the event. And she's, worried about what the community members are going to think. And I said, hey, the good news is one of our core pillars is grace. And so you're going to tell them like things happen. And for anyone that gets upset when things happen, like I just look at it for like, even if like you can't put so much pressure on somebody coming from the other side. I think just always being like, hey, I totally understand what that feels like. And being able to offer them that is such like an amazing thing to do for somebody. So I think just like, even if you're on the other side, like, and you see somebody running a business and something happens that's not favorable, also just sit back and be like, it's okay. It's not like they're actually trying to hurt me or intentionally messing up or whatever. Like, this is just something that happened, and try to roll with it and make it easy for them.
Well, man, when you like, there was so much power in what you said. Just multiple things came to my mind. So last week, I attended an event. My friend, my mentor, we got to have her on a morning show. She's a freaking powerhouse, total beast, Shayla.
I know.
Um,
How have I not met her yet?
I don't know. I've got to introduce you. Self-made millionaire multiple times over, and she's just on fire to help other people. And we went to her event last week, and I was chuckling a little bit because I was like looking at the weather, and I was like, man, like I just feeling pain for her right off the bat. I was like, it's going to be 23 degrees and like windy, right? And then we get to the event and we lose power. And mind you, people flew in from all over the country. You know, tickets were a little bit higher dollar. Um, and it's not like this room was built to to function well without power, right? So we have no slides, no AV,
Mm.
no power, and the power is coming off and on, and she just pivoted with such grace and like such. But here's the thing that and this is what you're kind of alluding to. Like, I actually think in the pivot she deepened her relationship with people. I'm sure there was that one person somewhere that was like, I paid this for a ticket and there was no power and there was no audio. I'm sure that there was that person. That person always exists, right?
They're
But the
always there.
majority of the people, 90 plus, 99% plus of them, were so taken aback by how she kept the energy going, how she kept the momentum going, how resilient she was. And then when she'd get up there and she'd talk, it was almost like God totally had her back, because the power would come on for like 1 minute when she said something super powerful. And so it'd be like a burst of power. And so like all of her stories were like powerhousing through, even with like zero power. Um, and so I just thought about when you were saying that. And then it made me think about you, Kristen, because I was really inspired by you. I got to be an attendee at your retreat last week or the week before that. And I am the person who is paralyzed when things don't go by plan. And I am
Yes.
so consumed by wanting to create an experience for people. And when that experience is disrupted, then I'm worried that immediately they're going to be like, well, like I have to even it out. Right? That's how my brain
Yeah.
works. If they didn't
Uh-huh.
have this, I got to give them this. Right. And we, not to put your retreat on blast,
You
but
can. Are you going to talk about the pipes?
so at one point, there's like 25 of us women in the house. And at one point, like we don't even have a working bathroom, but then there's sewage coming up in like the showers. And it was just by God's grace that Kristen happened to have a house around the corner that we could walk to go to the bathroom. But there's just so many problems. And the thing that I really learned was, number one, I watched you and I know you well enough to know that you did have a certain layer of stress, but at the same token, you were like, I can't control it. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the experience wasn't diminished. Like, I
No.
mean, don't get me wrong, people probably were like, dang, I had to walk, around the block to go to the bathroom. But what they actually got, the tangible value they got was not diminished, right?
Yeah. Well, 100%. Yeah. I can think of like so many scenarios where stuff like that's happened. And I actually feel like when I had my first son, Dean, I remember like, and I'm sure all of you guys can relate to this, but did you have like a birth plan? You like wrote it out, which is actually really funny because I was cleaning my computer last night. I had a 2-page birth plan. Okay. And of course, that went out the window and it completely like changed. And so like nothing in life goes exactly how you want it. And so you have to accept that and it's okay. And I think that if you can do a good job of with your clients or with your, members or whatever, like it's okay if something happens. Like they're not going to hold you to it. And that's where like I don't want to build community with people that are going to constantly like be like, oh my gosh, like the toilet's flooded, like I want my money back or whatever. Like, no, that is not in my control. And if you're gonna act like that, I don't think that you should be in here anyways, you
I think
know?
what you just said is so powerful though. So for the moms listening that are scaling their business or building their business, like you are going to come against those people that are very much that mindset. You're going to come against the person that's like, today's the day that you're supposed to list my house and I don't have grace for the fact that you're not going to get it done. I remember a client saying to me, I'll never forget this, which it's twofold. It's twofold. It motivated me and helped me to build better systems, but it also showed me that this person wasn't my person and time proved that. But I remember my grandma had dropped dead unexpectedly. And I remember apologizing and saying, I'm so sorry, my grandma died. And she said, I get it. Like, I get it. That's sad, but that's not my problem. Like, I hired you to sell my house.
Ooh.
And it was a growing moment because it's twofold. Like I, as a business owner, learned to put systems in place where my life is less likely to interrupt my business because that's important. But at the same token, it also was like, yeah, you're not my person, right? Which is funny because we transacted another time together and it took another time to learn it. But what you're saying here is so powerful for moms in real estate, wherever you are, whether you're scaling a team, whether you're brand new, you have to understand that there's going to be that moment that you're going to feel deflated and defeated because something came up in your life that didn't let you perform. And there is going to be somebody that doesn't receive it well, and it's not your person, right? It's not your.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, just the message of no, it's gonna happen. Like, don't be shocked that everything didn't go the way that you wanted it to, because the more you can adapt that, the easier it becomes when you get thrown these random things that happen and it just becomes part of your business. I'm telling you, like, if I could put one word on 2024, it's pivot. I actually think of Ross from Friends screaming pivot nonstop. And I feel like that's like my gift because it's just there's constant things that come up and that's just being a business owner. So I just like two parts is one, expect it, and the other part is have grace for people when it happens to them and champion them. Like if the power went out and like, you got to like just really be present for her. And like, is there anything that you can do to help her? Because she probably is stressed out in that moment?
Well, and I think that that's Kristen's magic sauce, right? Like I think it's twofold. It's like I watch you and sometimes I mean often I'm inspired because I'm like, yeah, I'm a control freak and I would be a mess in this situation. Like
I
I
feel
would
like
be
you would do great.
which I probably would be okay. I'm better now, but it's twofolds with you. I think the reason you're able to be so chill and even give yourself the grace in the moment is because you give other people grace in their moment, right? And I think that those have to go hand in hand, because if you're the person that never gives anybody else grace, but then you expect grace, it just, God doesn't work that way, right? He lets you experience
Yeah.
what you give out. And so I
Yeah.
think that your magic sauce is really being the person that, one, lets people know when things don't go well, like it's totally okay. And like, I'm still here for it. And then that in turn gives you the freedom to know, like, hey, it happens to everybody.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I got on pivoting and grace. What else do you have?
Yeah, no, I think it's that simple. I think I love when we have morning shows that are just motivational, and that this is one
Yeah.
of them. It's like, we're going into 2025. So, think about where you want to tighten things and be more systematic, but also just know that, like, when you step into this, it creates a snowball effect of then your business being by design, right? Like,
Mhm.
yes, it's hard to be like, oh, that person fired me because my kid had this and I couldn't do this, but that happens 3 or 4 times, and all of a sudden you have a business where people just expect it. Like, people expect me to roll up with a kid. Like, they expect it. They're like, wait, you don't have any kids? Like, where are all the kids? Like, they're just expect it now, or they expect some craziness to be happening. So it is what it is. So I love that. And I love that we get to empower all of you moms in real estate. Do we have anything coming up this week that we should remind them about?
We have a master class tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, tomorrow we do. I thought it was the
Yep.
second. So
So we've
we're reminding
got
me.
yeah, well, and it's with Lauren Duke. So
Oh, yes, yes. So we'll
having
double
a
check.
profitable admin, which is, I am so excited to learn from her. You guys, if you don't know Lauren, go find Lauren Duke on Facebook. She's in our group. She's one of our vendor partners. She is so smart and so, so great. So you definitely want to make sure you're on this call.
Yeah, and she has ran a big mega team. I think there was like 150 plus agents. So when you start thinking about having to be the brains behind like all the operational flow and making sure that the agent experience, the client experience, all the things is executed well, Lauren is one of those masterminds that makes sure it happens and it looks easy. So hopefully I'm pretty positive it'll still come to fruition. So yes, if you have not registered for that masterclass, make sure you do. And thanks, friend. I'm glad we got to do the morning show together.
Yeah, me too.
Bye,
Bye,
ladies.
ladies.